Hi guys, welcome back to JML Fitness. Last year I rode a 40.6 kilometer route and I was trying to go as fast as I could. I was hoping to average 30 kilometers an hour, but in the end I only managed to get 29.9, which was a bit of a shame. So I'm back a year later and this time I'm going to smash 30 kilometers an hour and I'm going to see how much faster I can go compared to last year. All right, let's get into it. Right, so this isn't a perfect comparison. If it were to be a perfect comparison, I would have to use the exact same bike, which unfortunately I can't do this year. Last year I did it on my Halford Special Carrera TDF. This is a proper ancient bike now. I got it as an 18-year-old for £300 and it is heavy. It is about 11 kilograms and it is a very basic entry-level road bike. It is not designed to be particularly fast. It is just designed to get you from A to B. However, I did whack a set of super slick GP5000s on it, so at least the tires are pretty fast. This year I'm going to be doing it on my Trek Domane AL3. Also not the most expensive bike. This cost about £1,000, but it is 10 years newer, so taking into account inflation, it's probably about the same. So given it's so much newer, it should be at least a bit faster. It has got a nice set of aero carbon wheels on it, so they should give it a bit of an advantage as well. Overall, the Trek weighs in at around 9.5 kilograms, so it's about 1.5 kilograms lighter. So the difference in the bikes is quite large. However, I don't know how much of a difference to the average speed that will make. Obviously, some of the difference will be from my legs and some of it from the bike itself. To be the perfect test of my fitness increase, I would have to do it again on the same bike. Unfortunately, the Carrera I ended up breaking a spoke on it. I will be doing the loop again on my old bike, so I just need to get a new set of wheels before I do that, but it will be coming soon. So if you want to see that video, be sure to like and subscribe. Right, so let me show you the loop in a bit more detail. It's 40.6 kilometers long with an overall elevation gain of around 300 meters, so it is pretty flat in the grand scheme of things. However, because we are in England, it is just up and down all the time, so pretty rolling terrain. Right, enough babbling. Let's get straight into it. Here we are heading down the first hill in the course. Obviously, the first thing to say is always make sure to be careful when going as fast as possible on open roads. It's always fun to smash it down a hill, but make sure to ride within yourself and always be sure to give yourself enough time to do an emergency stop because you never know what the crazy car drivers will do. The worst thing when trying to have a fast average speed is having to stop for junctions, and on this route there are a few points where a stop is necessary, but the key thing here is to absolutely smash the watts under acceleration in order to get up to speed quickly. A nice bit of open road and then through the town. It's a bit sketchy coming through here as it's not our right of way, but luckily there's no cars up ahead. We quickly get to the first real steep ascent, 670 meters at 4.5%. Yes, that is steep for England. I averaged 320 watts for 2 minutes, so a bit of an effort, but nothing too massive. Currently, I'm sitting at an FTP of around 285 and a weight of 98 kilograms. I know the best way to save time is to absolutely smash the climbs, but it's also important to not blow up at the top because I want to get over the crest and back up to speed quickly. Arriving at the first 10k point in a time of 19 minutes and 58 seconds, which is over a minute quicker than I was last year. Average speed is 30.2 kilometers an hour, so keeping it just above the magic 30 kilometers an hour goal. So far, so good. Right, the next section of course is slightly downhill and without many tight turns. This is where I can really settle into a nice flow and just try to get as low and as aero as possible. Reaching the 20 kilometer point in a time of 38 minutes and 17 seconds. Average speed is creeping up. It's now 31.4 kilometers an hour. I've managed to increase the lead from last year to 2.5 minutes. It's worth noting, however, that that whole downhill section was also assisted by a tailwind. I'm now turning back to face the headwind in the other direction, so being able to keep the speed up will be a struggle. 30 kilometer point. The average speed has dropped to 30.8 km per hour, but this was slightly uphill and with a headwind, so not too much of a loss there. However, I've increased the lead over last year to just over 3 minutes. Time for the last 10 kilometers. Gonna squeeze out every last bit of energy of the legs to see how much time I can save. Smashing the final 10k, luckily nothing went wrong like last year when I hit a pothole and dropped my chain, smashing it over the final riser and coming in with a time of 1 hour, 17 minutes and 8 seconds. 4 minutes and 22 seconds faster than last year. Oh, brutal. So the average speed went from 29.9 to 31.6 kilometers an hour, almost an increase of 2 kilometers an hour, which is pretty good. Right, so obviously the elephant in the room is the bikes being different. Obviously for a perfectly fair test, I would ride the same bike, but like I said, when I fix my old bike, I will be doing a new video on that. However, I would like to think that most of the difference comes from my legs. Last year when I did it, I'd just come back from a holiday and I was not in particularly good shape, in all honesty. In the end, end, I averaged 240 watts. When you're riding outside, your average wattage is always going to be lower just because there's going to be times when you're not pedaling at all. So for that reason, it's better to look at normalized power. For the whole ride, my normalized power was 270 watts, which I don't think is too bad for a ride which was over an hour. In terms of pacing, I feel like I didn't go out hard enough. In the final 10 kilometers, I felt like I had a lot of energy left to give. I feel like I should have gone out maybe 10% harder and just seen if I could hold on till the end rather than going out quite conservatively and then having a lot of energy to push towards the final 10 kilometers. Obviously, it's quite hard to judge your effort like that unless you do the same route over and over again. I might give it another go because I feel like with better pacing, I could definitely squeeze out like an extra minute. My average heart rate was 160, which is sort of mid-zone 3 for me. I feel like if I was really going for it, I should be close to 170. So yeah, like I said, definitely a bit more to give there. Also, the weather wasn't ideal. It was about 13 degrees, which is perfect for stopping me overheating, but it's not great in terms of air density. The colder it is, the thicker the air, which makes you slower. Also, it was quite windy. On a calmer day, maybe I'd be able to go a bit faster. Also, it had just stopped raining, so the roads were quite slippery. I don't think that made much of a difference because I wasn't really drilling it around corners trying to find every second. I was taking it quite conservatively because I just don't like going too fast around corners. So yeah, with that being said, I think I could find about a minute or so given my current fitness levels. The main thing is obviously still my weight, which is slowly coming down. I was 104 kilograms like 2 months ago, but now I'm down to 98, so it is going in the right direction. I'm also built like a brick, which is not aero at all. I have quite wide shoulders and just don't get particularly low on the bike. However, aero is definitely something I can work on. I put this ride data into a website called Best Bike Split, and what it does is it analyzes and spits out some estimated values. This site is actually pretty cool. I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in nerdy bike things. Anyway, what I'm most interested in here is the average CDA. CDA stands for coefficient of aerodynamic drag, or pretty much how efficiently you're sliding through the air. The lower the value, the better. Mine came out to a pretty shocking 0.45. I did a quick Google to see how this compares, and apparently the average road bike user has a CDA of about 0.32. That's with a regular helmet and regular clothes. So I'm well above that, which is definitely not good. Actually, it's probably good for the people sitting behind me because I'm creating such a huge hole in the air that they just get a free ride. Also, it's good in the fact that I could probably improve it quite a lot and get a lot of free speed. Anyway, I fear this CDA rabbit hole might be the next thing that I jump into. There's definitely a few ways to buy aero. The first being a bike, which is more aerodynamic, and wheels, which are deeper, but those are both expensive, so I'm not even going to look into them. One of the ways which is not expensive is a new stem. What it does is adjusts your frontal position so you can get longer and lower. Currently, I'm rocking a 100mm stem, which isn't very long. It leaves me quite upright on the bike, so I've bought a 120mm stem, and I'm going to see if that stretches me out a bit. This should hopefully make me a bit more aero and a bit faster. Another thing I can do is adjust the position of my hoods. When I'm trying to get low currently, I am sitting quite wide, but if I bring my hoods in a bit, I can move my arms to be a bit closer together. Another big one is the handlebar width. On large sized bikes, you tend to get very wide handlebars. My bike is a size 58, so the handlebars are 44 centimeters wide, which is pretty huge. Getting a new set of handlebars could be quite a good way of making myself narrower and therefore faster. However, handlebars are pretty expensive, so I don't think that's a route I'm going to go down anytime soon. But a new stem is definitely on the agenda. I'll definitely be doing this ride with a much longer stem to see if it makes me any quicker. Also, with my weight, every time the road goes even slightly upwards, I am just losing speed. I'm aiming to get down to 80 kilograms, which is an 18 kilogram loss. At first, I assumed this would make a huge difference. However, you can check how much difference it makes using BBS or Best Bike Split. It turns out you can use the website to change your weight and see what would happen. If I reduced my weight by 8 kilograms, 98 to 90 kilograms, how much time would I save? According to Best Bike Split, I would only save 7 seconds. How about if I dropped it to 80 kilograms? In that case, the time difference would only be 17 seconds, and the speed difference is just 0.13 kilometers an hour. That is a much smaller gain than I expected, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think that is true. So when I get to 90 kilograms, I'm definitely going to do this ride again just to prove Best Bike Split wrong, because a time gain of 7 seconds for 8 kilogram loss seems like literally nothing. Best Bike Split also lets you adjust the CDA. If I drop my CDA from 0.45 to 0.35, the difference is quite large. Overall, I would save 2 minutes and 30 seconds and gain 1.1 kilometers an hour. That is a pretty solid gain considering CDA is mostly just about your body position and hence can be improved almost for free. The power can also be adjusted. If I increase my normalized power from 275 watts to 300 watts, I would gain 1 minute and 23 seconds, which again doesn't seem like that much. However, if I combine all three of these changes, what would the entire time gain be? If I reduce my CDA by 0.1, increase power by 25 watts, and decrease weight by 18 kilograms, what is the total time gain? Overall, it comes in at 4 minutes and 7 seconds with an average speed of 33.4 kilometers an hour. I'm not gonna lie, that seems like a lot of work just to gain 4 minutes. I don't think it is true, to be honest. I reckon if I did all of those things, I would be a lot faster than that. Anyway, the only way to prove that is to lose the weight and get myself more aero and just ride it again. So that's what the plan is. I will come back next year, much stronger, much leaner, much more aero, and I'm gonna prove the website wrong. I reckon if I did all of that, I'd be able to do the route at least 35 kilometers an hour average, which is now gonna be my goal. I've smashed through 30 kilometers an hour, so now I've got to increase it to something ridiculously fast. So I'll definitely be coming back to this in 2025. I'll also be doing it again on the old bike just to see what the difference is. So yeah, not sure when I'll get that done, but it will definitely be quite soon. Just need to buy a new set of wheels. So thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one and hope you are all doing well. Take care, like and subscribe. Bye bye.